or don't like it, learn to love it because it is the best thing going.
And welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast. Along with my partners, Brian Siegel and Jonathan Talley and Shelton Moss, I am Curtis Wilson. And as always, we are brought to you by Moments on the Maury. Looking for a weekend getaway, but still want to make it to Blacksburg for the game? Then Moments on the Maury may be exactly what you are looking for. Owned by a proud Hokie who did attend the 1999 National Championship game. Let's put that out there. He was live in person for that game. Located outside of Lexington, Virginia, with a little over an hour drive from Blacksburg. It gives you fishing, kayaking, relaxing by or in the river with a cold beverage right out the back door. Check out the QR code in the upper left-hand corner or visit the Instagram Moments on the Maury. And tonight, y'all, this is Preview Panel 1. And we are joined by two of our great friends within the Hokie community. We got first up from 2 Deep, Pete B. What's up, Pete?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yep. Good to have you. And then, Dan, make sure you're off mute. I want you talking like 10 minutes. From Tales from the Terrordome, Dan. And I told him
he
to
is
come
on
on.
mute.
He's on mute.
Told you. You're still on mute.
There we go.
Damn, man. Look, y'all trying to silence me and shit. Sabotage me out the gate. How we doing?
What's up, Dan? Now that you're off mute, give us a little something. What you got?
Hey, man, it's I will say that the feeling is already. I think we have to enjoy this feeling, this excitement, this unknown that we have going into this season, because eventually, if it goes right, we'll just have expectations, and expectations can sometimes be I'm not gonna say boring, but like it's like when you, Brian, are you a Colts fan? You're a Colts fan, right?
I'm a Colts fan.
When you had Peyton Manning, you just expected you're like, we're gonna win 10-13 and go to the playoffs every year, and I mean that's cool, but you don't really get excited until the playoffs start. Whereas now, you know, we got James Franklin, we haven't won in a long time, and now we're on the eve, I guess, the fall camp, headed into year one, and we have zero idea what this thing's going to look like right out of the gate, but we are excited, and I think we should bottle that feeling because it might not be that way eventually.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to learn some stuff about this team and what James Franklin era is going to be about. You know, this may not be like a microcosm of what to expect long term, but it's certainly going to be laying the groundwork for what that future is going to look like. I'm cautiously optimistic. I know that's been something I've thrown out there a lot. I'm cautiously optimistic about this year, but you know, this is one of those things where there's enough unknowns where it's hard to just throw all your chips on the table right now. I know Tally knows what I'm talking about.
Uh-oh. Do we lose him? Tally?
Yeah.
Oh man, he just. I was like, pregnant pause. What do you got? What's he got? What's he gonna bring to?
He was going with the.
You got nothing, Tally?
The Tyson Flowers pregnant pause.
At least he looks pretty.
I think I'm back now.
Okay, you're back.
Hey,
You
were moving and everything.
I think I'm back now. Is it? Am I good?
it's in and out. It's in and out.
Can kind of hear you.
Hey,
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Just talk.
Brett Price trying to sabotage me. You're mad at me.
financial advisor, baby.
PB's financial advisor. You changed it from Brett Price drinking buddy, and he is sabotaging us now.
Well, I like Tally's hat. We were talking about it before. There was that tweet from Bud Foster today about Stick It In coming back.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone is still so excited about that. Anytime we post anything, Stick It In, it gets like the most retweets, the most likes. And that tweet went viral today.
I mean, you got your former defensive coordinator that's like still very much involved with the program, just like putting his name on it out there. You don't really see that very often.
No.
So like, bring it back, man. You got to. At this point, you got to.
I mean, he knew what he was doing because if you're at the Miami game, it's already back. So he was just,
But not officially, because remember, what year was it they played it?
UNC
everybody lost their minds, and then they didn't play it. They've been sporadically playing it every year.
It was the 2019 UNC game. They played it once. They brought it back, but I think that was the only game they brought it back for. I don't think
they've done it. They've thrown a couple teasers, like they throw like 2 or 3 notes in there, and then they move on to something else a few times, just a little bit of teaser here and there.
You feel like if Franklin were to come out and they do some media shot with it, like the first time we break the 20, and then for me, well, I got to get it right. Tally's first game was after they killed it. For me, Pete, and Dan, Shelton, you were young. I'm not sure how often. It was a staple when we were in school and stuff. Yeah. It was like, you broke the 20-yard line, that drama. I mean, and it just echoed. So
do that again, Curtis.
And
I can't do that again. I almost hit it right.
I was pretty good, actually. I'm impressed.
Yeah, it is what it is. Tally, can you hear us? I want to make sure you're back in.
Nope. He gone.
His video's moving a little bit, but the audio's on delay. He's getting audio real late. All right, we're gonna kick it off while Tally's buffering here. We got a few topics we're gonna hit tonight, whatever time of day it is. Tonight. But one of the things we're gonna talk about, one of the things that James Franklin made an off-the-cuff comment at ACC Media Days, and people kind of lost their minds a little bit, taking it out of context. But he made a quote about winning the offseason. He followed that up with, but it doesn't matter unless we take care of the business on the field, win the football games, all that. But we want to talk a little bit about what it means to win the offseason because, we've seen the surge of recruiting, something we haven't really seen since the late 2000s, really. We had a little sprinkling in there early in the Fuente era of getting close to this, but we haven't really seen it at this level in a long time. What surprised y'all, and this is going to be directed at Pete and Dan, and I'll start with Dan on this one. What surprised y'all most in what was done, and who's your guy so far in this 27 class?
I would say the amount in which they came and the talent rating in which they had so quickly.
Pause.
I think whatever. We can full resume, No, but yeah. Anyway, I just feel like it was a lot. Like it was like we knew it would be pretty good with them. It's James Franklin, right? We see what he does with Virginia. We see what he does with recruiting. We saw how he was able to convince all those people in a short amount of time to just blindly follow him to Virginia Tech. So, but I didn't expect to be. I don't know where we sit now, but at 15. One point we were like, "What? Are we 15 still?
1.7, still 15."
Yeah. So being inside the top 20, headed into year one, in the middle of like the early middle part of August, is not something I've ever really fathomed. So. Yeah, dude. I think obviously as far as player wise, who's my guy? Well, I think you build the team around your quarterback, and we just got a really good one in Peter Bork. Elite 11 was showing out there in those camps. I know it's kind of like a default answer, but like you build that is the focal point of your class. So I got to go Peter Bork.
I love that.
I would, in terms of like what surprised me, I agree with Dan in the sense of like the speed, the amount, and how soon they were coming. Like May was crazy, and it continued into June. I think what really got me was the 2-week stretch where we picked up Bork, Karhoff, and JJP. That was all within 2 weeks. There might have even been another guy in there, but those 3 stood out because 2 of them were the highest recruits in the class, Bork and Karhoff, and they still are. And then JJP, the kid from Texas, running back, stud, that was like, okay, this is like a little bit more than I anticipated. I expected James Franklin to recruit well, but maybe it taking a little bit longer. And that was like, okay, we got our quarterback of the future potentially. We got a top 200 kid in Karhoff, and we got what was the second running back in the class who, from a state that's talent rich, and we've done the Texas 2VT thing in the past. This feels a little bit more real, and so that's that moment I think was that for me. The player, I'm going to go with someone a little bit farther down the list, but still a 4-star, was Amari Irvin. That was the kid that flipped from Notre Dame, was picking between Georgia and Notre Dame at the time, and then he decides to come to the Hokies. He's also what I think is going to be an inside linebacker. Now, when you watch his tape, there's a little bit of outside, there's a little bit of coverage, but it's a lot of a sturdy middle linebacker hitting dudes, chasing them down. The mobility sideline to sideline is really good. A lot of good pursuit in there, sure tackler. So I really like Amari Irvin. And you guys know, we're talking about the old days with Stick It In. I mean, the linebacker used to be the strength of the team. And I've been waiting patiently for that to be the case and us to actually recruit a kid to play a position at linebacker and then play that position at Tech at linebacker. We've kind of been, Dax came in and he was playing backer instead of MLB. And we haven't gotten it right. And even we heard Pry this week talking about I wish I had an extra guy. And all I could think of was the hot dog meme of I wish we could find a guy who did this.
It's funny you say that because one of the hallmarks, even going back to Fuente and most of Pry, is these linebacker recruits, a lot of them didn't even start as linebacker recruits. No. They were safeties, or they were linebacker recruits and then they moved to defensive end or outside or somewhere else. We haven't had a guy that was recruited as a Mike that played Mike. So we've had a couple guys transfer in that were Mikes elsewhere that played Mike, but we haven't had that true middle backer in a while that was recruited to Virginia Tech to play that position. So that's a funny thing to call out there, but I'm really excited about what I'm seeing from the recruiting class overall. I mean, I think there's still probably one or two surprises that we don't really know about, whether it's someone that's on the board that is waiting till we get a little bit further in the cycle, whether it's guys that James has kind of earmarked as potential flip candidates, guys that they're going to keep working that may have already chose other spots. So it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. I don't see, even if this is it, I don't see us really being anywhere outside the top 20 when all things are said and done. There's not a ton of teams behind us that are looking to make that big of a jump, I don't think. So top 20 class, it would be pretty rad. Go ahead, Tyler.
It was more I want to say surprising, but I'm just not used to it at Virginia Tech. To see James Franklin go out and get 3 kind of high-end tight ends, right? So usually we're kind of school where you see we get a guy because somebody else they missed on him or they didn't want him, right? And we may get a high 4-star, a high 3-star, low 4-star because Ohio State decided not to take him or something like that, right? But to get 3 high-end tight ends, high 3-star, low 4-star tight ends that early in the cycle, and also our pitch has been to most people, well, you come here and you can play early. I don't know if that's really the pitch anymore. You know what I'm saying? There may be some playing time available, but most people who are coming in aren't saying, hey, I just want to go here so I can play. They're saying, I'm trying to get in early so I'll have a spot. So when I seen them go get 3 tight ends that can really come in and play after already really having a pretty, deep tight end room and then bringing in, some high-level tight ends this year, I was like, okay, we might be, the recruiting's just on a different level, something that I'm not used to. So when I seen that, it was kind of surprising, but surprising in a good way because that James Franklin and the staff can recruit, but to see it play out like that, it's like, okay, that's not just recruiting. That's pretty pimping. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that Tally, that's similar to what I think with the JJP thing, because it's like this kid's jumping in. He's a 4-star running back, and he's already joining the class where we got a couple 4-star running backs on the roster. There's one in the class already, and he still wants to be here. Like that is the cool thing of like, it's not just, oh, I'm not going to get a chance there. It's like, no, I want to play with the other talent. I don't care if there's another guy there. There is a totally different feeling to that, and that wasn't happening before.
It's a vibe.
Right.
It's a mindset.
Yeah.
It's a mindset, right? And it's truly a pretty great vibe to have, to know you don't have to wait anymore. Like, as crazy as it sounds, it's like if we want a top, top what? What is Dylan Littell? Like a top 8 offensive tackle? Just go get it.
Yeah.
He is 20 at his position, 9 in the state. But like the big thing, like when I'm looking at it, it's not even like one position. When's the last time we've had 3 composite 4-star offensive linemen in a class?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
Matt
for
Moore
real.
was able to show off a little bit with some money in the pocket now.
Well, you look
I
at
know
the
my boy Sheldon. I know my boy Sheldon got something to add in here. What you got for me, Sheldon?
Yeah, ask me, Sheldon.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're just talking about like winning the offseason. I think one area that the Hokies won the offseason was hiring Brian White, who comes from FAU with a lot of experience in fundraising and revenue generation. So it's interesting when I went back and watched Whit Babcock's press conference in 2014, his introductory press conference. He talked a lot about the traditional 80 model of the student athlete experience and hiring coaches and kind of fitting the culture. I think now what I think stuck out to me with Brian White's introductory press conference is just how revenue centric it was. He was just talking about finding different ways to generate money, whether that be obviously corporate sponsorships, advertisements. We're going to talk about concerts in Lane. That'd be another way to do it, et cetera, et cetera. But it seems to me like there's a big influx of donations. You've got Hokie Ventures coming up, a lot more financial growth within the university as well. Do you guys feel like we're moving to more of a corporate model in this new climate we're in, and how do you think Brian White kind of plays into that?
I mean, there's no doubt about it. We saw the jersey patches last week with Michigan and Ohio State, among other schools. It's only a matter of time. Everyone's selling out. Everyone needs cash, and whatever the rule changes and the paradigm changes that have taken place, like that's the name of the game. Sell your brand, get advertisers, and Brian White did a great job of that at FAU. You talked about the fundraising, but he got the stadium rights, like naming rights deal. I think it was the largest in the American at the time. And he just seems so like laser focused. You hear him talk and it's revenue generation. Like that's the choice of words every time he's on a mic behind a podcast. And I love it because we need cash if we're going to compete. And he also said the thing about like, someone asked him about being at a place that might be more resource strapped. And he was like, well, I don't want to have us be that for long. I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, well, let's make us not that. Let's make money instead. And so, I think I don't know how you guys feel about the stadium naming rights deal. And I'd be interesting to hear what Dan has to say on this, but like, if the amount of dollars is right, put a name in front of Lane. Like that's just what it is, man.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Smithfield Stadium is gonna hit so hard, dude.
Bacon for everybody, baby.
Yeah, Benny Marzano's field at Smithfield Stadium is gonna be amazing. Yeah, I honestly can't wait. No, I think Brian White is he's an influx of he's an injection of freshness. Like no offense to Whit, or however you want to take it.
Yeah, no.
I was more like as a person, not necessarily as what he did for his job, but as a guy, like Brian White, he like uses his nuts when he walks. Like he has swagger to him. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like a confidence when he speaks.
He looks cool.
There's a projection. There's a confidence. Yeah. There's a here. We're gonna do some shit. Now there wasn't like a hesitancy or like a lack of confidence, like transference in him at all.
Well, the difference between him behind a microphone and Whit behind a microphone alone Just if you're trying to sell people on things, if you're trying to like get across a point, make someone believe in your vision alone, Brian White has him beat by 1,000 miles. Like,
yeah,
I am so ecstatic about the hire, and I'm ecstatic about it for basketball. I know that's not what we're in to tonight, but his family and their connections within the basketball sport, like that's really nice.
By the way, I'm going to make a real quick point back to recruiting. 247 is one we all look at, right? There are only 23 players in the top 247 not committed right now. So when you're talking about where we're going to land, Brian, there's not a lot of guys out there left to boost people's ratings.
Yeah.
Between that, and we talk about Brian White, but just in general, just the influx of capital that came in after the James, people started stroking 6 and 7 and 8 and borderline the 100 million. There you go. Yeah, 6, 7. Thank you. And
I'm
borderline
hoping someone will get that.
and 8-figure, 9-figure checks. Talk about $100 million donation.
I was just waiting
people started paying. People were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, y'all are actually getting serious. Here's $40 million." Like,
I definitely was waiting on Curtis to add checks on the end of that statement.
I know. I heard this
stroking 6 and stroking 7 and stroking 8. I'm like, hold on, bro.
teasing y'all.
Finish the line, Curtis.
Finish that line, man. Before I got to pause it. Had me nervous for a minute.
Oh my God.
Tally over there sweating bullets. What are you going to
Yeah.
say next?
What
are
if-
you going to
what
say
if-
next?
I was about to turn my
after all these years.
Is Curtis the most unpredictable of everyone here? I know Tally can be a little unpredictable, but like
Curtis.
Tally's unpredictable in a predictable way. Curtis is unpredictable in an unpredictable way.
We
don't know what Curtis is going to say. I don't know what
I love what Tally had to tell somebody one time. They were like, "Man, like, Curtis looks like this nice upstanding guy," and Tally's like, "You ain't never met him, have you?" And then Brian sit here like, "Been knowing this kid since I was 13 years old." He looks it, but watch out now.
And mind you, for all the chat, if y'all don't know, Curtis's new nickname is Perry. Just to let y'all know that.
Perry.
That's Curtis's nickname from now.
That story will come out one day.
Does it have something to do with Curtis Perry, the
No.
defensive line experiment?
That's good. That's not it.
That's not it.
Man, I wish it was. I'll tell you what it is. Ask Curtis, who plays, who's currently the left tackle for Virginia Tech right now.
It's Curtis Justin Terry.
Every time we tried to say Justin Terry's name, he would put his own name in front of Terry.
We
for
grew
like
up
a
with a guy
month and
named
a
Curtis
half.
Terry, and it is stuck. And now, if I ever meet him, he is Curtis Justin Terry. And it seems like the way he's been playing, it's going to stick. But, Brian, we got one more talk about winning the offseason. We kind of brought it up last week, and I know you wanted to ask these two knuckleheads their preferences here.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've talked about this a little bit offline, but we're going to do it a little bit online here. Brian White mentioned concerts in Lane, trying to get up to 3 in Lane a year. Who you want to see? Dan, I know you got some thoughts on this.
Man, there's literally one no-brainer, and I guarantee you his brother has his number. Morgan Wallen needs to play at Lane Stadium. 1, I like it. 2, no matter how you feel about it, he's going to sell that bitch out in like 5 minutes.
Yep.
Tech Athletics are going to make a shit ton of money. And, sorry for cussing. I know this is a family show, but I'm excited. I just think like a big artist like that is definitely a hit. Obviously, Metallica at some point, but you can't run it back immediately. In my opinion, Guns N' Roses, Motley, like somebody like that, like a legacy, massive rock band act like that. Ella Langley and some strong others. Like there are people you could do. You might have to obviously go. Oh, every ticket's gonna have to be multi-ticket. Even Metallica brought 2 pretty big names with them, including Pantera, even though Metallica sold that thing out. But I just think that Morgan Wallen or a Chris Stapleton or a Luke Combs has to be your first phone call.
Mind you, Brian said 1. Dan named a whole year full of people.
I know.
Pete, I'm pretty sure he took one of your names that you.
Well, yeah, I mean, he hit a lot of the high notes. There's guys that would sell it out, but I do think like the combo concert, Southwest Virginia friendly, like you could do something really cool with a Dead and Company and a Dave Matthews, and you throw in another kind of folksy artist. Or you could go the route where you do the Morgan Wallen, or you do, if you could get Combs or Noah Khan or someone like that would sell it out. But I think more than likely you're talking about what seems likely to me is like the Guns N' Roses, Public Enemy, Ice Cube kind of thing that they've been doing in certain places. Like you do a combo. I would love to see personally. I would love to see Lil Wayne, Post Malone, when we were going to school, hip hop was number one. That's what you played at the parties, and I've always been a Cash Money fan. Of course, Drake and Kendrick would go hard, and now I'm doing the Dan thing, naming a lot of people. But like for me, like Southwest Virginia isn't going to. I think it'd be harder to sell out a rap concert, and so you're going to have like the Foo Fighters. And maybe it's Foo Fighters and Dave Matthews and Dead and Company, and you could do some kind of combo there. But the goal is to sell it all the way out. And there's a handful of solo artists that could do it, but I think a good combo could do it.
Dan, Pete, excuse me, you hit exactly who I said would bring the every genre would be Post Malone, because you would get a hip hop artist, you would get a rock artist, you'd get country artist, because he's done all the genres. I think he would, like, that's who I'd go to, because your undercard would be just as big as him. And it would bring, you know what? It would look like a game day. It would be every shade from all over the world in that stadium for like a Post Malone concert. So,
yeah. I mean, the one I brought up, I was like, you could do, so like anybody that knows about Something in the Water down in Virginia Beach, it got canceled one year. And then Pharrell did a Pharrell and Friends featuring a bunch of big acts. Like doing that for like a whole afternoon would be really, really cool. And then having like maybe Clips headline that thing at the end of the night. That would be a pretty awesome afternoon and evening in Lane Stadium, because you get the Virginia flavor in Lane. I think that would be that would do enough numbers where you don't necessarily get the minus on that with the Southwest Virginia piece.
And hold on for a minute, Curtis, because the chat is saying they can't hear. Hey, somebody give us a thumbs up or let us know if you can hear or can't hear. If you can't hear, if you just see me moving my mouth, tell us you can't hear. But Ken is saying he can't hear, so I'm wondering if it's one person or every person. Can y'all hear out there?
all righty.
I hear you guys great.
Well, I hear you. Give me a second here.
I'm finally working pretty good, so I'm just trying to stay in the same spot, like try not to move.
There we go. We got one. That seems like a one-person problem.
Okay.
You might want to reset, man. All right. So
Skill issue?
The offseason is one. Let's get to football right now. And we're going to start on the defensive line, Pete and Dan. And obviously it's led by Coach Chaos. I did some research this week. That man, just the defensive line, not the entire team, over his entire career, which spans roughly 15 years in college, his defensive lines average over 20 sacks per game. I did even further research. When he was at Penn State, partnering along with his, Tally's good drinking buddy, Brent Pry, 25 and a half sacks per year just from the defensive line. 2019, when they were 11-2, the entire defense had 45 and a half sacks. That's an insane number. I don't care where you play. So what I want to let's go into the D-line, and let's just say this. Kamari Copeland, Elijah Fall, absolute lock starters. They played great last year. They bulked up, both over 300 pounds, both huge guys. We know right now Emmett Laws is out. That stinks. The story's great. He looked like he was going to be that next star on the inside. So depth's a little shaky. So I want to know one guy. I'm going to start with Pete. Give me one guy who's going to grab one spot in the 2 deep.
Of
course, I start with you as being.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You can see the sign right behind me. I'm going to go with Mensa. We wanted him out of high school. Didn't work out. Goes to Ohio State. Makes his way back to Virginia. Huge pickup for us, especially in light of the Laws news now. And that spring game and the commentary afterwards is that Mensa took a step in the spring. And now Pry's saying he's lighter. He's playing with better technique. I like him to be number 3. And in fact, I am not so sure about Fall being completely locked into 1. I know that's kind of the way we've been presented it as fans, but like, what did Fall really do outside of slapping that dude in the South Carolina game? Like, was he really like that good? Like, we sucked last year. Like, was Fall really that good? So I think everything after Copeland's up for grabs at DT. And I could see Mensah sliding in there. Now, then you get into a body type thing of like, do they fit next to each other? I don't know about that. But I like Mensah, so I'm going with him.
Daniel?
Yeah, I was going to say Mensah is probably like the obvious. But then you're going to need one of Gerard Johnson or Christian Evans to step up. Hopefully. They've been there a year already. Gerard's been there. Has he been there 2 years? I don't know. I just know he's big as hell.
Gerard's this is his third season.
This is his third year, yeah.
Yeah, so it's time. Like, if he's not going to contribute, he's probably going to be out the door. That seems to be the way things are going these days.
He's officially over $3 bills now, too.
Yeah, if you can't play for me, you got to hit the road because we need people that are going to be able to play for me. It seems to be the message, which I'm fine with. But, yeah, don't really know. I guess what you got, Andrika and a couple other true freshmen like T-Ron. Don't know what that's going to look like, who's going to play. It's the 5-year rule now regardless, so redshirting is really not a thing anymore. So I feel like if you could contribute, you're getting on the field. But since Pete said Mensah, I'm going to go Gerard Johnson or Christian Evans by default on the other side.
So you don't have the faith in Adarica?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's only like one guy they're pushing down our throat that I don't have faith in, but we're going to get to him, and then I'll talk about it. But
all right.
We're going to get to him.
We're going to get to him.
All right. So, I mean, I think y'all kind of hit it really well there. I mean, the big one for me is Gerard Johnson. And I think, Pete, you put something out there on Twitter the other day about the number of guys over 300.
Oh, we have size
on the roster. And like, just looking at D-line, I've never seen this many D linemen over 300 on a roster.
Never. Not in Charlie Wiles D-line.
No, definitely not.
Charlie's
Definitely not. I think we got like 4 or 5 over 300 on the defensive line alone.
I think it might. Yeah, it's at least that many. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. Everybody pull up the roster.
All right, we got Copeland.
Yeah.
Gerard Johnson. Fall. Laws is just over it. We got
Fall's over it.
Fall.
Adarica,
Mensah.
T-Ron is over it.
Dude, T-Ron could do something. T-Ron could get into the 2 deep. I really like his film is pretty nice. Like, I don't know if you guys have dove deep on that, man. But he's big and he could be good.
Now, just to go off of what Pete said earlier, because I'm a big Fall guy. Like I like Fall. Just looking at what he did last year, because again, we weren't very good. So anybody who somewhat did something that's back, I'm like, okay, that at least helped. Kamari Copeland had 48 tackles. The next D lineman was Heisman, or D tackle. Yeah, he was Heisman. He's gone. And then it was Gilliam. So it was 39, then 34. Then Fall was 4th with 25. So he had 25 tackles, 2.5 sacks last year. Kamari Copeland had 4.5 sacks. So out of the defensive line, he was second on the team in sacks because you had Ben Bell that had 2.5, Fall had 2.5, Gilliam had 2. So again, not an all ACC type of year or player. And I'm not saying somebody couldn't step up and take that spot, but just looking at the production that he had on a very bad defense. Like,
those sack numbers were atrocious, man.
Yeah, that was bad.
As you're reading them out, I'm like, oh my god.
You have to keep in mind, like 3 of Kamari's came in the Cal game. I mean, like it was rough. And I also, to Fall's credit and Kamari's credit, is that Ben Bell was a disappointment. The other dude, man, left after like one game.
Jonkum.
Yeah, James Jonkum was gone. So like, you're not. there was never a great opportunity for the guys in the middle to excel when your two starters were basically duds on the outside. Like it was always, and that same thing happened in the back end too. Like Dante Lovett leaves, we get an injury, Q doesn't play, then it's a mess back there too. So like no one could excel either on the line or in the back with all the things that went down.
Yeah. I mean, it was bad out the gate, and it only got worse when he started getting those opt-outs and all that shit last year. I mean, it just the wheels fell off real quick, and if you can't rush the passer, it's hard to cover. If you can't cover, it's hard to get enough time to rush the passer. It's just both of those things kept feeding into each other, and it just was a whole lot of awful.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to talk about it later on. I ain't really looked at it that deep, but just hearing the word cover, and I'm looking at stuff from last year, and I seen Tyson Flowers' name. He better get it together. I'm going to tell you right now. Well, I don't know if y'all been watching any film or anything or these practice clips.
They don't look good.
Can't wait to talk about it.
He is getting cooked.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah,
I'd like to see another body or two step up, because I'd much rather see somebody that isn't just a leader, because I feel like he brings leadership. I think they've talked about that ad nauseum at this point, but just because he's a leader doesn't mean he needs to be the first guy on the field.
There you go. That's the way to say it.
Yeah.
Tally, you got one more for us here.
We got one on one more.
Yeah, so going off of what we talked about with the defensive line, going to the defensive ends, that room is kind of, up for grabs as well. Hodgepodge of new players coming in. You got transfers, you got young guys, you got some guys who we've kind of seen a little bit of. But the question is, do you guys have, kind of going off of what we did with the defensive tackles, do you guys have a one starter that you'll think may be an end, and then one guy that you may think will be in the, as Pete's name states, too deep? We'll go with Pete again.
I got to go first with mental last time. Let Dan do this.
We got to let Dan go first. Man. He's diverting to his buddy.
Dan's on the clock.
I mean, by default, really. And speaking of linebacker recruits that don't play linebacker, Asen Stevens, prize first linebacker recruit, is looking to be a stud there on the outside. He showed up last year in flashes. Looking forward to seeing what he does in this scheme with Coach Chaos. And as far as the other side goes, I'm not really sure. I think everybody thought it was going to be Hilson, but then you hear like maybe he's a little further back than you thought he would be. So I think the other side might be kind of wide open. I'm not really sure who the other one it should be, but I do feel like Asen Stevens has firmly locked himself into at least starting the game against VMI.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, Asen Stevens seems locked and loaded into one of the spots, obviously, on the outside. I mean, the way they talked about him at ACC kickoff, even after the spring, and it was a shame, again, like we didn't get to see Stewie in the spring game. We didn't get to see Stevens in the spring game. Two of the guys that got talked the most about in spring practice, but he's carrying the lunch pail. That's one guy. But this position, defensive end in general, is, I think, the position I'm concerned the most about. And I know most people probably say it's the offensive line, but offensive line brought everybody back but Remack. So at least you have Matt Moore back, you've got all the bodies back, and you expect improvement. At defensive end, like I just talked about the ones last year who, were disappointing. We get Coach Chaos in there, so you're expecting production. I think Malachi Williams is the guy I would bank on to start. Okay. But like I'm putting down like a nickel on that bet because it could easily be Hilson. It could be one of the other Penn State transfers. But
Malachi Sachs.
Yeah.
What about O? What about Sam O?
I mean,
he's been hurt though, right?
Yeah.
You've also got Jason Abbey who's back too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Derek Dandy. I mean, there's some guys. There's plenty of names. But I think
Malachi Brett Clatterbaugh is in there too.
Brett Clatterbaugh, another linebacker. Doesn't play linebacker. But I think Malachi, if you saw, like, you want to talk about clips, you see some clips of Malachi Williams, and it's like, okay, this is like a little APR like there's a little bit more twitch there. So I'm going with him. Of course, Hilson brings the 4-star status, and he was a very high recruit, a high 4-star. So hopefully he turns out to be something we can use a lot this year too. And Asen, you might end up with a situation with Asen Stevens, and I'm just not so sure about him yet because we haven't seen a ton of him, but he has flashed in the past. Like, could he be the leader that plays less than Hilson and Malachi? Like, I could see that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certain downs, like what I keep hearing from Franklin about Steven is the bull rush. And go back, remember Kenneth Canham? Everybody remember Kenneth Canham and how good he was. Never
Bronco,
great
baby.
off the edge. But what was he? He knew how to bull rush. He knew how to set an edge like a son of a bitch. And he got 9.5 sacks out of that. Yeah. So is that the type of player that potentially Stevens is? He's not going to bend the edge, but he's going to bull someone, and he's going to set the edge every time we're like, okay, we're going to struggle to run to that side because he's going to set the edge tremendously.
I mean, I feel like Abby could be a little bit of that. Like, I don't think he's going to, like, wow you, but I think he's not – I don't think Abby's going to be as good as Kenneth Canham, but I think he is a decent run defender and could help us set the edge.
First few games are going to tell a lot on that. Sheldon, did you have anything else on fall from last year? Or
I mean, honestly, not a ton to really kind of gloat about. Like his base stats weren't great. Pass rushing productivity not great. So I mean, he can certainly improve too. I would say just what you guys were talking about, like the pass rush productivity as a whole was really, really bad last year, and that's obviously confirmed in the basic stats and the analytics as well. We just did not have any individual standouts. Obviously, outside Copeland, but certainly for the defensive ends, it was not good. So obviously, there's a site, the 2deep.com that does very advanced level depth charts for every college football team.
Two different people texted me that link this week because of the name.
Yeah, it's awesome. And also shout out to the 2D VT podcast, of course, unrelated, but it's an awesome site. They've got Hilson and Stevens 1 and 2 in the starting role at the end, and then Malachi Williams and Jason Abbey 3 and 4. So we'll see how that plays out. But certainly we're going to need some more production there. So I can kind of transition to the. Go ahead.
Did you have a favorite guy though at end, Shelton? Like, I'm curious, like, who do you, outside of Steve, say we think Stevens is starting on one side, who would be your pick on the other side?
Honestly, probably Malachi, I guess, but like, that's more of a hunch, really. I just don't know. Don't really have much to back that off.
What does Curtis Jones play?
Penn State.
Huh? What does Curtis Jones play? Is his name Curtis Jones?
Is he a linebacker?
Yeah, linebacker. Yeah, he's listed as linebacker. Okay. Yeah.
He's going to be like an outside guy.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to be like an outside guy. Although he was running back for a couple games for that dude's a football player.
Right. I just didn't know what
I think we'll see him a lot in the backfield on those 5-man pressures that they were that you sent me today.
That was, if y'all didn't catch that today, that if everybody touched that was a great speech. I sent it to Robbie, and he had like 5 pictures where he went to the symposium earlier this year with some of the looks in the back. All right, look at that. That's how we just have conversations. Sheldon, where are we going next, my friend?
Yep. Next up, we're headed to the offensive side of the ball and talk about the tight end room. James Franklin was asked about the tight ends in the press conference this week. He was asked about the returners. Obviously, you got Benji Gosnell coming back for another year, as well as Jerikas Hairston. But we all know that the star of the show is Luke Reynolds, highly touted prospect, 5-star of high school, coming over from Penn State. He is the man that's going to be leading the room there. I just want to ask, what are your expectations for him in his first season in Blacksburg? We can start with Dan and then go to Pete.
I think he's going to be a how do I want to say it? When you think of ball domination, damn, that's so gay. When you think of ball domination,
I can't stop.
I think he's going to dominate the touches. Like, he's going to be like, I'm not going to say Russell Westbrook, but like, he's just going to, I feel like he's going to have the majority of the action. I feel like there's going to be a lot schemed around him. We saw in the spring game, it was coming out quick, and he was the recipient on a lot of that. So I'm thinking, when in doubt, Luke Reynolds, and don't know what the offensive line is going to look like this year. But I think there might be quite a bit of win and doubt, and I think Luke Reynolds is gonna be our answer and our bailout a lot, and I'm cool with that.
Like, I think what he could be is like a Ryan Mallek on steroids. Like, Mallek was extremely reliable and made some plays, but I think Luke Reynolds is a very good chance to lead us in yards and receptions.
Yeah.
Now, Triple Crown would be tough, but like Queso also will give him a run, I think, at receptions. But Luke is going to be used a lot. I think only thing that could blow up the idea that he would like lead us in at least one category would be how much Benji takes away from him in terms of how much they're using Gosnell in addition to him. But I think Luke's going to have an absolutely huge year. Everything from the clips, from what we've been told by the coaches to national media talking about it, like he's going to be a huge part of our offense.
Well, when you talk about Benji there, you threw it in there. You get Luke Reynolds on the field. He's going to be a focal point, but he's also going to open things up for Benji with the amount of 12 personnel we're going to run.
Yeah.
So there's going to be opportunities
It's not just Benji, it's everybody.
But I'm saying, like, when you think about who you're going to put your best interior coverage guy on, are you going to put it on Luke? Are you going to put it on Benji? You're probably going to put it on Luke. Benji's probably going to get the worst coverage linebacker on the field in any 4 or 5 man route tree situation.
Yeah. Well, Benji's most career catches was 32 in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll exceed that. Like, I think Benji will go 33 catches or more.
Oh, wow.
And I think
cool
Luke probably at least doubles that.
I think Luke's going to be near 60. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your expectation.
Yeah.
60 receptions.
Well, I mean, look, man.
That's a big number though. Like
it's a huge number. However, like look at what Franklin's offenses with Ty Howell, one of the best tight end coaches in the country, have done. And what they've done is throw to the tight ends. And in some cases, way more than they throw to the wide receivers.
I mean, that's true. I mean, Tyler Warren was 100+ receptions back in 24.
So add up Benji and add up Luke, and you get to 90 something. That's Tyler Warren.
Tally, I know you had something you wanted to ask them and we kind of hit it a little bit with Benji, but go ahead so we can get these guys to talk about it.
Oh yeah, just going along with what we're talking about Luke's production, what we think about what he'll do, just how we envision the rest of the room. I know we already kind of hit on it because you think about some of the young tight ends that just came in, but also you do have some production that was there from last year, as in Benji, and then you have Jarikus as well, St. Germain. So you have those guys that have already been there. What do y'all think the rest of the room kind of shakes out? I know Pete already kind of hit on it. He said, Luke's production plus Benji's production give you Tyler Warren production as far as catches. So I'm just interested to see whoever wants to start it. I ain't going to even designate it. Whoever wants to start that conversation just about what the rest of the tight end room looks like.
I think last year, Jarikus had some very good catches. I think this year, I don't think he's going to really get a chance. I don't know what St. Germain, I don't know what their play share is going to look like. But I think that when it comes to the tight end room, that it's going to be Luke and Benji show. Plus, obviously, you got to factor in how much we're going to run the ball, and then the receivers are going to want their touches too. AG has endured a lot. He came back. We'll get to the receiver room, but I feel like basically Luke and Benji are really going to dominate our tight end conversations on our podcast this year, and I think they're going to dominate the amount of snaps.
All right, so Dan, your point is, besides those two guys, Harrison, nothing. The kid from Powhatan, nothing.
They'll get a little
St.
bit.
Germain, nothing.
But I mean,
but in perspective, it's going to be them, and then everybody else is an afterthought.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely feel that way.
That's fine. No disrespect on that.
I mean, Hairston, he was good last year. He really was like one of the few pleasant surprises on the team. So he could play his way into cutting into Benji's time. I don't see anyone cutting into Luke's time too much on the field. But Hairston and St. Germain can play. Like they can both play football on different teams. They might be a starter or definitely the second guy up. So I think they saw, like, to keep all three of those guys, Benji, Hairston, and St. Germain, like they saw Ty Howe coming in, and they're like, I want to play for that guy. Like that's what they saw. I feel fantastic about the room. Like even if we had an injury, God forbid, like I think there's enough depth there to not shake us from our game plan.
Yeah. I'll say this. I'll throw this in because tight end is my thing. I kind of like the tight end rooms, right? But when you look at tight ends, it comes around to having some different guys that can do different things. I mean, you got to have somebody who can catch, of course. You know, I know everybody wants to talk about a tight end that can catch, but you got to have some tight ends that can block too. You know, you got to have a tight end that's going to be able to get out and block, because we go back to whenever it was, the last bowl game we played in. You know, if Benji gets to the second level, he did get to the second level, but if he gets to this one block, then Brody Adams goes in, walks in for a touchdown. Yep. Not saying Benji can't do that now. You know, that was 2 years ago, but I'm just saying you have to have people who can fill those roles. So, you know, you may have a, you know, Hairston in there who can do that, or you may have a St. Germain that you put in there where your job is to get to the safety. And blocking a safety is much different than blocking a defensive end. You know, you got to be a little bit more agile because they're going to try to get around you more than go through you. So I do like that they do have some diversity in the tight end room, that they can plug some different people in. I do agree with you guys as far as the snaps go, or the catches go. I don't want to say snaps, the catches. I'll say with the catches, it's probably going to be mainly Benji and Luke. But if you look at Hairston last year, he had 12 catches, and Benji had 12 catches. They had the same amount of catches. Just 3 of Hairston's was touchdowns. So it looked like he had a much more productive year than Benji did, but they caught the same amount of passes, which we was horrible last year. Just using it for comparison to what we'll look at this year.
I mean, Dan, are you concerned about the blocking?
But Benji, I mean, yeah, I was gonna say that, but like, how often are we talking? We're not. I mean, if you're doing your job blocking, like if Harrison St. Germain is getting in his play share, like his time on the field is blocking, and he's doing a great job. We're not really going to be talking about him because you only talk about people that block badly when it comes to blocking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, no disrespect to Marcus Davis, but there was a whole YouTube compilation of him does not block. Like,
that's been,
you know, it's like it was like, it's just like that's the only time people that are supposed to block, like their main job is to block. You talked about is when they're not doing it, and that's why it's been the offensive line has been the ire of Virginia Tech content creation for the last 5-6 years, however long.
No.
But
Pete, when did you start? 2010?
No, not quite that long ago, but 2015 was our first year.
That's when it started, right there.
Yeah.
Shelton, Shelton, you were waving. Did you have something?
Yeah, I closed the tab, but I was looking at PFF, and I believe that our 3 tight ends last year were all in like the bottom 5 of blocking in the ACC.
You know what quells that fear slightly for me is, one, you've got literally a great position coach, probably the best position coach on the team, coaches the tight ends. 2, Matt Moore, who is in meetings with the tight ends with blocking regularly, is back for year 2. That combination, like, that is what's making me like, I'm not as, because we're gonna ask these guys to catch, but we are absolutely going to be a running team who needs them to block as well. But I am not as afraid because of the 2 things I just said.
Yeah, if you're running a lot of 12 personnel, you're not sending both of those guys out on every snap.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a bunch of running. Like, these guys are going to have to be at least sufficient blockers, right, for us to have success on the offense. So, I mean, whether that's Luke Reynolds jumping in and, you know, be showing what he can do, whether it's Benji taking a step, whether it's Hairston getting some more snaps so he can show what he can do. I think we know, like, Harrison St. Germain is probably the most consistent overall blocker that we have, but he's not going to see the field a whole lot with kind of the rest of what we've got going on in this room.
He's going to see the field when we run that, the split T in the backfield. He'll see the field then.
I mean, Benji is the one that's going to have to block the most. Like
It's
that's really
I
what
agree.
it's going to come down to. And
I will say
he's a super senior. So
one final caveat to what I was saying earlier, and it's not an excuse because it should never be an excuse. I guess maybe it's more of a guess on my part, is that when you take Benji from 2024 or whatever, like this dude was like a focal part, like he was a big part of what we did. And then this past year with Monty's offense and then the shit show that everything became, he was pretty much completely taken out of the game plan. So I'm wondering if the result of how bad his blocking was was a little bit of disengagement on the whole thing, because he was kind of like, well, what the hell am I even out here for?
He was blocking bad
cardio.
in 24 too. Now,
Was it that bad though?
It's been bad.
It wasn't good, but it wasn't. I mean, I think we hit new depths last year, and I don't know if that's just apathy with the way the offense was going all together.
It's hard to take anything from last year, right? I mean, it's really hard to know. Like the spirit of the team was so down that it's tough.
Yeah.
All right. I know we kind of hit on it a little bit, but I mean, let's talk about it. You know, we talked about how much 12 personnel we're going to run. What's the actual percentage we're going to put on that? Like, how often do you think you're going to see 12 personnel in this offense that Ty Howell's putting together for Virginia Tech? Pete.
I mean, I think it's going to be 50 plus. I mean, is that crazy to say it's like 60, 65? Like, I feel like,
but when I'm looking at them, like you could technically have 12 personnel, but it's basically a de facto 11.
Right.
You can split Luke out, and he's basically another slot guy. Like there's,
I'll say 55 just to be a little conservative, but like it could be more.
Dan.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Franklin like getting his coaching bag when that media dude asked him that question, and he started talking about the advantages of running 12 or whatever and transitioning into whatever, and the mismatches when you force them when they're in nickel and you force them into something, like I think
DCs hate 12 personnel.
Yeah. So I think like it's going to be a lot, but I don't know what kind of number I put on it. I would say 58%.
Wow. He doesn't know, but he is going strategically.
Yeah, right. He did the Price is Right.
Yeah, he did. The Price is Right. Me.
It's gonna be this. Oh man,
we got some good comments coming in here too. We got Chris Lester in the chat, and there were some other ones in here too. I'm just observing as
Chris said 40. Is that 40%?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, he's a wideout.
Wideout bias.
He wants to see the tight ends off the field. He wants to see that extra wideout.
Well, but the whole piece is going to be you have a room you can do it, right?
Yeah.
Like we just talked through those guys, and I know Shelton, you brought up not the best blocking, but they each have skill sets, right? They're not like completely just brand new. It's like they've all played significant snaps within college. The kid from Powhatan, and I'm sorry, his name is blank.
Henderson. Matt Henderson.
Henderson. There we go. Henderson from
He was a
Powhatan.
5-star.
Highly rated guy coming out. So it's like when you guys say 50 and 58, somewhere that high number, it's not unfathomable. It's not unfathomable enough to say that. To this makes sense, right? Yeah, it makes sense.
I think 55 is a good number. Only, like I said, only because you've got some formation flexibility because you've got Luke Reynolds on the field. So you're not like locked into just standard 12 personnel formations. You can kind of mix and match that a little bit more than you could if you just had two traditionally inline tight ends on the field.
Best 55 in Tech history.
Ooh.
You know it. That's an easy one.
That's my man.
That's our guy.
That's our guy.
Amazing. Amazing interview.
I got it on the wall here.
You got it on the wall. Shelton, what do you have?
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll talk a little bit about Ty Howell. You look at his background, had a cup of coffee at NC State as a GA, a couple of years at Western Illinois as an O-line coach, and then got his first play calling experience also at Western Illinois for a couple of seasons. Came into Penn State in 2020 as an analyst and spent 3 years in the co-OC role along with coaching tight ends. So overall, pretty solid body of work, but I think the OC experience overall is pretty limited. Are you concerned at all about Ty Howell having not called a season full-time in almost, I think, 7 years?
Dan?
No. And this is why. I'm not, because James Franklin has, and he's there, and he's not going to let this fail. So, or at least he's going to try his best not to let this fail. If it was a first-time head coach, first-time DC, first-time OC combo again, I would be a little worried. But I think there's enough experience there. Yeah, I think there's enough experience there around him that I think that it will has a higher chance of success than the previous edition of this thing.
Yeah, I'm concerned. Yes. The short answer is I am concerned that he hasn't called a ton of games. There's been a few. But with how involved Franklin is on offense, they're on the same page. And I think that backstop, Franklin has a ton of experience in the sport with offense. That's how he made his money initially and how he got the job at Vanderbilt. But he's clearly more comfortable with Ty Howell, Franklin is, than he was Koloniki. That's why Ty Howell made the trip with him to Blacksburg. And I think he's ready to step into the role because of the amount of time that they've been together. And they have the same people around him. We got DOB. He's still the quarterback's coach. And people, Penn State people especially, might, Danny O'Brien doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, Aller had a couple good years before everything fell apart. I mean, what I like about it is this isn't Tyler Bowen, Brad Glenn, Joe Rudolph, then Ron Crook, like all these like various pieces coming together. Like this is a very cohesive group that knows each other well, knows what they want to do. Like that's why I'm not as concerned, is because one, you've got an experienced play caller, offensive mind in Franklin, in addition to just having so many people that have been with each other for so long. I feel like this is a perfect timing for Ty Howell to step into this role. That's what I would say.
Yeah, no, I agree. And not to answer my own question, but I would say that experience can sometimes be not overrated, but just maybe misinterpreted. Like you said, back in 2022, when we hired that staff, it was kind of a hodgepodge of different schemes and philosophies that just didn't mesh very well. But I do think we've got more, just kind of continuity with people knowing what the fit is. And then Franklin's obviously, thought a lot about how he wants to assemble this staff. So I'd say not a ton of worry for me. I'll say that for sure.
It's a unified vision, they have because they also kept Matt Moore on purpose. Like it's all the offensive pieces, like they have the same vision. And that's really important. I don't think we ever had that with Bowen and the various offensive line coaches and the various OCs that kind of went through those 4 years.
Yeah. And we can also not undercut the fact that we've got a lot more analyst roles on this staff than we're used to that can offer some of that additional insight for a coordinator that may not have called as many games as, someone that's been doing it for, 1 or 2 decades at this point. Right. So, you add that with Franklin as the backstop. I think you've got a good combination for somebody that's, still a little green in terms of play calling, but has, done the OC role at this point for a few years as a co-OC, and obviously, one of the best position coaches, in the country potentially. Certainly at the tight end position.
Well, definitely one of the best position coaches in the country, and the whole thing is why we kind of ask this question is we know that as crazy as it sounds, we all watching a football, calling plays is a rhythm thing, and you see guys occasionally just get in it. As much as we crap on Tyler Bowen, when Tyler Bowen was rolling sevens, those certain games where when he was rolling sevens, remember those games that seemed like every play was decent. Like every play was plus, score, plus. Like we know that doesn't happen all the time. And
his problem was he couldn't fight his way out of a struggle.
Well, no,
if
he started rolling snake eyes. He was going to roll snake eyes.
If the script was not going the way
time.
he wanted to, he did not know how to adjust and get the mojo back.
I don't. Yeah.
Go ahead, Pete.
I was just like Tyler Bowen never could properly assess the talent that he had and what kind of offense that would dictate. If you think about his first year, like, which I guess was Brad Glenn and him, we ran the wrong offense for 6 weeks, and they admitted that. Year 2, they did the same thing until we got to the Pitt game, and then he started rolling sevens, Curtis. And then in year 3, they tried to put a square peg in a round hole down in Vanderbilt, trying to make Kyron Drones throw the ball. And like every year, he could not properly assess the roster and the talent and what we should be doing. That was Tyler Bowen's downfall. And I feel like that will not happen with Ty Howell because there's a kind of a shared hive mind among the staff.
Yeah.
First
they
of all,
they know what their identity is, and they know what they're trying to accomplish.
Pete just mentioned Nashville, and I was in literal hell.
It was awful.
How hot it was.
It was awful.
It was hot. We lost. I don't know why people keep trying to relive that time in my life. But Pete, please don't.
I'm sorry, man. We had a good time the night before.
We did have a good time the night before.
We had a great. It was a great tailgate too.
Awesome.
Yeah, the tailgate was fun.
Those 3 hours in that stadium were miserable.
Kind of like the movie Sinners. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Sinners where the old man is talking and he says, "But before the sun went down, it was the best day of my life." Yeah, it's kind of how I felt about that game. It wasn't even that the sun went down, but before the game started, it was the best day of my life.
As soon as we had to start walking in the stadium, it was already bad because of all the damn construction.
Oh, dude, that was the worst stadium experience. Forget the loss. That was just an awful experience anyway. Yeah. But then you add in the loss and it got worse. I see Chris said lack of a QB coach, and that is a good point because we haven't, like, they made Tyler Bowen the QB coach and the OC, and like he was never a quarterback, and it was criticized at the time. And I was of the opinion, and you try to talk yourself into things like, yeah, but guys can learn. Like, he's been in football his whole life, and like it didn't work. He recruited Kyron, so they gave him the nod to like go and try and coach him, and it didn't work.
Can we say a funny thing? Because we were critical, but when we say this can work, it's his system. He knows exactly what he wants the quarterback to do. And then, Tally, I hate to do this to you, but literally the beginning of 2024, he went away from the system that worked. Mm-hmm. And I don't think James Franklin will let that happen. I think if Ty Howell tries running 5 wide, he's going to be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, I was going to say, so this is my
take. Get 2 tight ends on the field and run the freaking ball.
Yeah, this is my take on kind of that, or all of this kind of summed up to me. Because it has more to do with just the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator. Our problem was our coaching staff didn't have control. Like when Brett Pry was there, he didn't have control. There was parents going in there. There was players going in there saying, if I don't get the ball this many times, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go and tell people how horrible it is here. And Brett Pryce had an open door policy to say, okay, parents, you can just come in here whenever you want and we'll try to make this work. I wasn't there. I'm just telling y'all, I know that's how it was. You don't have that option as a parent or as a player to get to James Franklin. You're not going to talk to him like that. And I don't mean talk to him as in a good or a bad way. I'm just saying, like, as a parent, you have people that you have to go through to get to this coaching staff. They pay people for a parent to talk to more than just going directly to the coach's office. So I think that if somebody or a player, I know he values the players. I know he wants the talent to be there because he has a great reputation of keeping players. Like, he retains a lot of his players. But James Franklin is not one of those coaches that's going to say, I'm going to do what you want me to do so you'll stay. I don't think that.
No chance.
I don't
no
think
chance.
Just from what I've seen in the past, I don't think that that's what he'll do. And I don't think that Ty Howell will have to coach like that. I think that Tyler Bowen had to coach like that sometime. I can't take this guy out because we've paid him this much money, or we'll make these people mad, or I got to run I got to get this person the ball, or it's going to be a problem. I don't think this coaching staff's going to deal with that. I don't know how good or bad we'll be, but I know that if we lose, it's going to be because they're doing what they want to do.
I still need to know what dirt Parker Clements had on this coaching staff.
Dude, I mean, you could say the same thing about KD.
Yeah.
Drone started for 3 years, and it got worse and worse and worse. And I know, like, there were other problems, but there was a history of us playing the same players who were subpar for way too long.
That's the truth.
Yeah, I've talked myself into a lot of shit over the last 4 years. I did a lot of lying on this microphone.
We know, man. We know you.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm just acknowledging it. What I'm saying is, like, there's it didn't work with KD, and that kind of sucks because, like, obviously, like, Tally knows, everybody in this room had a relationship with Kevin. Where, like, they were great people, but it just didn't. It wasn't working. And I'm gonna say, like, I'm not picky about who the fuck makes plays this year. Like, as long as somebody does and it's not the opposite side of the ball, I'm all for whoever. I don't care.
High production, low maintenance.
There you go.
You can be high maintenance.
That's Franklin's quote.
If you're high maintenance, high production, we can deal with you.
Yeah,
I think that's the God honest truth right there.
I don't give a shit. Yeah.
Brian, where we going next with these gentlemen?
Hey, man, we're going to talk a little cornerback room. Probably the room that switched up the most compared to where things wrapped up at the end of last year. Because that room was in the gutter, probably just as much as the defensive line. But you got Jaquez White in there. Looks like he's going to be healthy to start the year, so that's good after the nick during the spring game.
Thank you. By the way, I said a week ago, I don't want to hear White is still not quite ready to go. I literally said that. And when I read that he is full go, I was like, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a big one. I mean, you got to get him back in there. But, I think that, the rest of the room has kind of been overhauled as well. Like, how many players do y'all think in this room are going to see significant snaps? Is this going to be a 5-deep situation? Are we going to have kind of 3 guys that are kind of the main running crew, and then there's going to be only guys coming in to spell them behind them? And if we get into where we get to that, it's got to be 5 out there. Is that going to be potentially a problem even with the overhauled room? And I'll let Dan lead this one off.
I mean, if you have 5 people that can play significant snaps and produce, then we're in a great spot, in my opinion. But obviously, Jaquez White, we beat out Tennessee for him. That was a good win on the trail. Very high production player from Troy. And that's the thing. He came from Troy, but at the same time, like, when you're taking these people from these schools and they produce at an extremely high level at these schools, and that's a good take. Doesn't really matter what name was on the front of the jersey at that point, in my opinion. I mean, somewhat, but at the same time, like, you can look at him and tell, like, and you see him in the spring game, and you can tell, like, hey, this dude can play some ball. Josh Clark probably on the other side, maybe. I don't know. Before he got hurt last year, he was looking to be, a promising player in the secondary, like heir apparent to, Dorian and Mansour over there. He's back. I'm not sure if he's 100% yet or not. And then you go and add who did we add? We had a Chadwick out of UConn, who was a high production player there. And then obviously IBM is around. Thomas Williams. I saw too much of that boy. That guy got cooked too much for me last year, so I'm not really trying to see it, to be honest. But if there's some other kids coming in from Penn State, I know I'm probably forgetting names, but I would expect 2 very dominant corners, but I would expect hopefully you get 2 or 3 guys that can spell them and keep fresh legs going into the fourth quarter.
Hey, Dan, I'm not discounting anything you're saying because I feel the same way. But remember, while we talking about this, our cornerbacks had to guard people for like 10 seconds. I think we had 10 sacks for the year. Like we was not quarterback.
Yeah, it
19
was bad.
total sacks. Like
that would be the argument for Thomas Williams, right? Is that
Wosley was the one I was thinking about.
Wosley,
I like that guy a lot.
Yeah.
Have we talked about Deloach yet?
No,
the Green Run Godfather just mentioned it though.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering where Deloach is going to fit in, and that's the question about. I think 6 are going to play. Like I think I think the question was significant snaps.
Yeah. Significant snaps.
We're going to run 3 corners a lot, so a 2 deep is then 6 guys. Right. So I think it's going to be 6, and then the 7th would be like if Polydor comes out and decides I'm not taking a red shirt, and I guess maybe we're not doing red shirts anymore. Right. Maybe Polydor plays a lot. Maybe JoJo Krim plays a lot. Maybe Deloach plays a lot. That would be number 7, one of those 3 guys. I think it's IBM, Chadwick, and White. A lot. Yeah. And Krim, he came in and everyone loved him. And he was a day one kind of guy. So I'm not doubting that he could definitely get snaps this year. But Thomas Williams being a 4th-year player, he has so much athleticism, and he was done so dirty by everything that happened around him last year. And he went out there every week and played and got burnt. And I just feel like he's ready for a comeback story. So I like Thomas to be in there. Wosley, I think he's going to play. The way they talk about him, I think he's going to play. And then we love Josh Clark on this show, so we want to see Josh Clark out there. I think it's 6, the number 6, and then I'm going to give a 7th to a flyer. And yes, Krim and Deloach and Polydor are in that flyer, but we're still learning a lot right now in fall camps.
Yeah. Well, it's wild that we're having this conversation about 6 or 7 guys.
6, 7,
and Thomas Williams was basically a number 2 corner for the majority of last season, and he's probably in that 6th or 7th role, potentially heading into this year. It's wild the amount that this room is flipped depth wise.
I think it's our deepest position. I really do. If you look at it might not be the best of the best guys on the team, but it is a super deep position with so much young talent. We were so bad last year. I can't understand how it could be this bad, but
how they flipped it.
The coaching was awful. I guess I don't freaking know.
I like what you just said, Pete. About
the wings are so good.
The coaching was awful. Oh, good one, Dan. Oh, that was good. That was good. But it was. But I like what you said, Pete. I think you look up and down, and you mentioned 7 guys, and you just feel if so and so needs a series off, there's no drop. There's no drop. Anywhere, whether it's boundary, field, nickel, whatever, and as you again, and I'm looking over here at it, and I'm still kind of, it's kind of baffling, because there will be a boundary corner this year.
Hell yeah,
there will be a boundary corner, and whoever you see at that boundary, that's who the best is, because that's prize from the School of Bud. There is a boundary corner, and when you play that position, you are the best. So, kind of in that light, who's going to be the head turner? Who's going to be the guy of the 7? Because Pete's mentioned 7 now, Dan. And Dan, you're sitting here Dan was there's 3. And then, wait a minute, there's maybe 5. And then Dan was then there's maybe 6. Who's going to be that head turner? Who's going to be the guy we sit here, state of the program, or 5 months from now? 5 months from now. Let's be positive. 5 months from now, we're doing a state of the program. Who's that one guy They didn't want to throw to his side, but they knew he was sitting on routes, and they just would not attack him.
I think Jaquez White's going to clamp it down.
All right,
it's setting up for him, so I would agree.
Pete,
I really like Chadwick. I'm a little higher. If you're asking me for to name a guy that I think is maybe going to surprise, I'd go with Chadwick, because White we're kind of penciling in to CB1. But Chadwick had 67 tackles as a corner last year, which probably means that the team wasn't very good and they got passed on a lot. But it means he's freaking tackling, and it wasn't a one-year wonder. He also had 4 interceptions, which is pretty sick for one season to come up with 4 interceptions. He had 47 tackles the year before. So Cam Chadwick, he is a tough dude. his tape is amazing. Like if you actually watch his tape, like he moves really well. I think he's CB2. Like I think it's White and it's Chadwick, and I'm banking on Chadwick to lock some guys down. But I think White is probably the dude. Like we all hope he is, because if he's not, then everything drops a notch. But like I think IBM's going to be the primary nickel. I don't think we're going to have to, like, because of my confidence in Chadwick and White, you can kind of make him just play nickel. Like I don't think we have to use IBM on the outside a ton, and he can kind of get more nuanced into that role. But there's just like Clark really could, like he was supposed to be a starter last year, fellas. Like he really could be a starting caliber. Like he could supersede Chadwick, he could supersede White. Like but he's got to be fully healthy, and we've got to see it over this next month.
Right. Now I will say, just going off of what Pete just told us, I think our leading tackler last year, which was Caleb Spencer, had 69 tackles.
Nice.
Chadwick will take you down, dude. I love
it. Saying Chadwick had 67.
He was also a team captain for UConn last year.
Right, that's pretty good. I mean, meaning he ain't scared to come up and hit, or hell, maybe he didn't have a choice.
How many interceptions did we have last year, Shelton? Do you know off top?
I'll look it up for you. It was not many.
It was like 5.
Yeah, and Kamari Copeland was one of them. So yeah, not good.
Chadwick had 4 by himself.
4 by himself. By the way, you talk about throw it back a little bit in the way you're talking about. I'm gonna let you get it, Shelton. Shelton, go ahead. What was the number last year?
Yeah, it was 4.
And one of those was a defensive lineman. Oh my God! But I'm gonna go back
against Wofford.
Against Wofford. But Pete, you mentioned Chadwick, the way he likes to tackle. Remember Brandon Flowers. Brandon Flowers loved to hit people. God, he loved to hit people. He loved to tackle people, and that was great. So
him and Macho both.
True. Yeah. That's true. Macho did not hesitate either. So, but again, I think Brian goes back to your point at the beginning as we started discourse about the cornerback room. And right now is the reason why we are doing 3-part panels this year. We have went almost 90 minutes with just Pete and Dan on a few topics. We didn't want to go 6 hours because that's eventually what the panel preview was going to turn into. But it's amazing how that room flipped. It's amazing, like getting a couple good transfers, keeping a couple of the guys who played solidly, getting Josh Clark back. And it's amazing how that room went from, man, these guys are terrible, to how many people on that 247 said, hey, that's probably our best room. It's like, are you kidding me? You know where we were 365 days ago?
I mean, it's certainly our deepest room, even if it's not necessarily.
Yeah, and exactly. That's what it's deep.
Ceiling-wise, yeah.
And I mean, you talk about Brandon Flowers and Macho Harris and how they like to get after it. Like, if you look at who was in that room, they had to. They wanted to keep their spot. Like that, it was dog eat dog, and like that room was tough. Like if you to get playing time to start like that, you had to be that guy.
And that's kind of what it is right now. It's a lesser level, obviously, but it is. You want to play, it's right there for you. Like we're seeing this plateau of dudes, and like who is going to be CB2, CB3? Like who is going to be that guy on the outside that gets more snaps than the next guy? And there's really good competition here, and Wosley's going to play a lot. I think the way Pride talks about Wosley, like I feel like he's going to play a lot too.
Yeah, I think they like him. I've heard his name a lot.
Yeah.
Deloach
like
is
MJ
talented.
said, the ceiling is the roof.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Deloach is talented. I think he'll have some chances too. But I think Pete kind of summed it up with what he's talking about with the room, just saying how deep it is. May not be the best room. We'll see. You know, hopefully another room is hopefully our defensive line room is the best room, and we have fucking 30 sacks. But that'll help our cornerbacks out. But just switching gears a little bit, because we've been talking a little bit about positions and things like that. We're just gonna go to kind of thinking about back when James Franklin got hired, right? James Franklin got hired, where we were. We won't go into what Pete thought about it when James Franklin got hired. We're gonna go to the part where everybody's happy now. You know, everybody's happy. We're seeing what Franklin's doing. And then we get these, I don't even know what to call them. We get this other fan base that comes in and tells us on every tweet how bad James Franklin is. I don't know if y'all have seen it. I don't know if y'all are avid Twitter
We're
users,
seeing it.
but I just want to know kind of what y'all feel and what y'all think about the Penn State fan base and how much they told us how bad Franklin is. But also, like I said last time we had a show, how much it's changed since their recruiting has went down. Like, I've seen a drop-off on how bad they've been talking about Franklin and how great they thought their coach was when all these kids start going, oh, yeah, you know what? Never mind. I'm not coming there. I'm going to go to Georgia. I'm going to go here. So
I want to let Dan go off on this, but I just want to say one thing first about my take on Franklin and everything, whatever.
Let's go, Pete.
Like it or don't like it, you need to learn to love it because it's the best thing going. that's what
Curtis is
that's
so
what
happy.
it is.
Curtis, you are muted, by the way, so we can't
Yes,
hear
you
your
are muted,
excitement.
Curtis.
I just clapped and went, woo! All right, Dan.
The
Cracking
Penn
up.
Staters,
You were,
man.
Dan, you were in there, dude. You were in there with
You
guns
were in the
blazing.
trenches.
It just
Standing up
amazes
for-
me how a fan base gets so good at talking with dick in their mouth, dude. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, dude, it was like I was just, it was ridiculous. Like, it was the most insufferable thing I've ever seen. Like, it was just, and then you saw it shift to now it's like you see those like Fuente level Texas 5-star or Virginia 5-star or is a Texas 3-star, whatever the fuck. Like, you're starting to see the levels of cope, and now all of a sudden, every time Virginia Tech gets a recruit or UVA even gets and takes one of the recruits, oh man, they spent $30 million on that kid. Like, if we're spending $30 million on every kid, we like Daddy Warbucks. Like, what we do? You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, it's definitely. I went from not really caring about that fan base, and I actually still don't, to like. I hope they eat their fair amount of shit this year. Like, if Marshall beats them, like, that would, just seeing a meltdown from their side would be absolutely hilarious.
They are absolutely insufferable. It's been tough because, like, not being a Franklin guy and then having to switch gears to, like, I might not have wanted him as my first choice, but like, you guys are completely insane is like the switch up that I wasn't having. Like, I didn't want to have to do that, but it's become necessary. And you've probably seen me teasing them with the recruiting rankings and everything else, because when all that stuff was going down in May and June and really out recruiting them, because they started off really well. Like, Penn State got a ton of recruits.
Yep.
Slowly but surely, Mr. James Franklin starts chipping away, and he's ahead of them. And I was like, he is not going to stop until he finishes ahead of Penn State. And lo and behold, that's what we're headed for.
James was walking them down like Michael Myers in the movie. I'm talking about just slow, not trying to speed up or nothing. The next thing you know, you're driving the car.
And it's funny
he's standing
because
outside the door.
It's so true, Tally. And a bunch of those recruits that committed early, we saw one decommit and go to UVA. We saw one decommit and go to West Virginia. We saw another one decommit and go, like, it just kept happening. And like, they're starting to realize that the demands and stuff that James Franklin makes on the program, once those are gone and you've got a Mr. Nice Guy in the role, and we've had Mr. Nice Guy in the head coach role, it doesn't work. Like, you need someone always pressing the administration saying we need to do more. And they're going to blame it right now on their stadium renovation and that bullshit. Oh, we don't have any money because we're renovating our stadium. Bullshit. You don't have James Franklin anymore. He was an ace recruiter. Matt Campbell has never been asked to do that. And I like Matt Campbell. If he had come to Virginia Tech, we would have all talked ourselves into that being a very good hire. I like the guy.
Right.
But it is not the James Franklin effect on the trail. And they are learning that big time right now.
Yeah. One last thing I was going to say is that they went from James Franklin doesn't spend NIL money to we don't want anybody doesn't want to be a Penn State guy. Like it like the and it was like they were like we wouldn't even talk about Penn State. We would just be happy that we got Franklin, and they would just be in those comments. And now to watch them like figure it out, like this might be a little rougher than we thought because he's not here anymore, has been glorious.
Well, a lot of the commentary too has been 10-2 is not the standard at Penn State. Someone put that on my Instagram like 2 days ago. 10-2 is not the standard.
Yeah, it is.
Last time I checked, Penn State has 2 consensus national championships, 82 and 86. 10-2 is pretty damn good and pretty close to an undefeated season. Like, how? Yeah. What is the? If 10-2 is not the standard, like your standard has only happened twice in history. So, like, that's the part where there's a disconnect. Like, what? Okay, so 11 is the standard. Okay, so you need to like basically have almost a perfect season every year to hit your standard, which you've only done twice 40 years ago. Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And he did that standard 6 times.
Out of 12 years? Was it 12 years he was there?
Yes. 12? Yes.
He hit 10 wins 6 times?
He hit 10-plus wins 6 times while he was there. 1 9-win season. 2016-11, 2017-11, 9 in 2018, 11 in 2019, 11 in 2022, 10 in 2023, 13 in 2024.
They fucking dumb.
Yeah, pretty much. And here's what's happened. They realize it. Why the discourse that had been going on has went like this is they're realizing it right now. They're realizing it.
Matt Campbell, like if he wins 10 games a year there multiple times in a row, I will be very surprised. I like the guy, but
I like that's what I said. I think Matt Campbell's a good coach.
He is a good coach.
Well, he's only won more than 8 games at Iowa State twice.
And the resources and the recruiting and everything's way better, and we all realize that.
Yeah, we know there's a discrepancy there, but he's still historically an 8 or 9 win coach in a good year. Even if you bump that up a little bit, I don't think they're going to consistently hit 10 wins because you're bumping all that up, but you're also the competition level is significantly higher.
He's only won double digits
very true.
One time
very
in his
true.
whole career.
And you also have to consider like every time we thought Iowa State was going to like have the year, they didn't have the year.
They didn't.
It happened over and over again. It was very NC State of them to like, oh, this is the year they're going to win 10 games, and then they win 7 or 8. Like he had a 3-win season a couple years ago. I mean, it's you got to be careful what you wish for with this type of stuff, man.
Yeah,
and I realized they were done with Franklin, and that's fine. One man's trash, another man's treasure, and I'm on board, fellas. I'm on board.
I do feel like they're trying to oversell the Campbell hire to cope with the Franklin situation.
Well, they are.
I think if you separate the two, like Campbell is a decent hire for most programs, but if your goal is to win 10 plus games in the Big Ten, I don't know if Campbell is a good hire for any school, let alone Penn State.
That's a good way to put it.
Minnesota.
They also act like we didn't see them miss on 10 coaches.
But Minnesota, he's not going to win 10 games in Minnesota.
No. Good point, Dan.
Yeah, Dan made a good point right
Great point. Say it, Dan, if the case people didn't catch it.
Yeah, I was saying like they act like that we know we didn't see them miss on 10 coaches. Like they got everyone paid.
Yeah, everybody was getting
Signetti, Matt Rule,
Everybody
Sataki. Like it goes on. Yeah, I mean, how far down the list was Matt Campbell?
He was the first person we wanted.
He was the first guy we called.
Top of the list.
We know.
Just like Brent Pry was at the top of our list a few years back.
Oh,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
All right, we're going to wrap it up with one last little question here for y'all. I'm not making y'all make a record prediction. I'm not going to ask y'all. Y'all are going to do that on y'all's respective shows probably over the next course of a month. What I will ask is this. Right now, you look everywhere in Vegas, and I did check multiple sites, and if it's moved or I didn't go to the right site, y'all quote me. But the sites I looked at, every single one have us at plus or over under 6.5 wins. I don't need an exact record, but over under 6.5 PB.
I've been on 7-5. I think the schedule is sneaky difficult. It's not, but you don't want a record prediction. I'm over. I'm comfortably over. I think 6-6 to a lot of Tech fans would feel like a little bit of a punch to the gut, regardless of it being a 3-game win improvement.
Yeah.
Dane?
I'm over. In fact, if it's not over 6, that's gonna sting a little bit. I'm gonna feel a little disappointed because I feel like, we're young everywhere. There's a lot of question marks. We don't know. Still have to make it through fall camp pretty damn healthy. So hopefully that happens. Prayer circle time. But yeah, if it we should still be able to, if you look at the way even the schedule's laid out, starting with VMI, ODU, Boston College, Maryland, you should be able to string enough wins in there to hit over 6.5 on the back end for sure.
All right.
And I would ask this to Shelton. You look at our SP plus, it's hovering around 33, I want to say. That should equate to an over. That should equate to 7+ wins in this environment. Now, some of the travel for us, we have a terrible travel schedule this year, fellas.
Yes.
We go all over the gosh darn country. But
Yep.
what do you think about that, Shelton, with that 33 mark in the SP plus? How does that dictate to a record?
Yeah, I actually do have the formula. I just gotta wait for Bill to update his numbers for 2026, and I can plug them in. But generally speaking, yeah, I would say 33rd. Depending on the schedule, it's a manageable schedule. That'll give you at least 7 or 8 somewhere. It's not as big of a discrepancy as people think. Typically 7 or 8 is kind of the expected range of outcomes, I guess. And I don't think we don't. I mean, outside of a couple teams, we don't really play anyone that good. So you kind of expect each game's going to be anywhere from 40% to 65% win probability. So yeah, I'd say 7 or 8.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the schedule. We play 2 or 3 of the best 4 in the ACC, but also we play 2 or 3 of the worst in the ACC from a overall power ranking perspective. If you're putting the power rankings out there, travel is the biggest thing that is kind of playing a factor in there, just because there is a whole lot of travel that goes along with. But you add to that, you've got a pretty manageable out-of-conference schedule overall, and you play Maryland at Maryland, but it's that's a quick trip.
It is
for
it
that.
is.
So I think all things weighing out, it's a manageable schedule. I think over needs to hit just for the sake of the fan base at this point. To Dan's point, it's going to feel underwhelming if we just get to 6. It would certainly feed the Penn State trolls that we were just been talking about. If you just throw out 6.
Well, you can bet on, I think it's a +2.5 on Virginia Tech versus Penn State win total. I'm pretty sure FanDuel is offering that because there's interest in it.
Yeah, I gotta get some bet then this year, man. I don't usually do
Wait, hold on. Shelton's reported something. He does have the numbers.
Yeah, so I plugged in the projection totals from the I think it was the mid offseason SP Plus rankings.
Mm-hmm.
So 7.3 was the projected win total, and right under 5 wins in the ACC. So 5-3 ACC record. Now that was based on a couple months ago. So Bill's going to update his numbers for August once he gets the full roster updates. But Miami, Clemson, SMU, those will be the big tough ones. Outside of that, we would be favored in every game. By a minimum of 60% favorites.
Dude, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That favorite in 9 games.
This is what I'll say. This is my hope for the year. I'm going to the Georgia Tech game. That's the 7th game of the year. If I can walk into the Georgia Tech game and we are bowl eligible or we are fighting for bowl eligibility in that game, so that means we got to be either 6-0 or we got to be 5-1.
Right.
Going into that Georgia Tech game, I feel like I feel like I'm on top of the world.
I mean, Tally, that would be either one. It would be ridiculous.
I feel like I'm on top of the world. Now, I don't know how the back half of that schedule plays out. So that's why I said I'm not giving a prediction. But when I'm looking at the games and I was looking at some, which one I'm going to, I was like, okay, I got to get back to Blacksburg. I haven't been in a couple years. But I'm looking at that game and I'm like, this is the midway of this season, right? And if I can get to this game and we are fighting for bowl eligibility in this game, or maybe bowl eligible, like I feel like I don't want to say, my life is complete because I still want to do a little bit more living, but I would be feeling pretty good. Like I may go have a rail at Tots if that's
maybe two. Maybe you chug one.
Maybe I just chug one.
He might go back to his car and listen to Enter Sandman. Like that might be how good it is. Like
man. You got Ray-Ban glass, you got Meta glasses, man. You can just listen to it through your glasses now.
There you
go.
I need 4-0 like I need air, fellas. Like I need 4-0 like I need air.
It's been so long since we've done well out of
they may
conference.
burn Blacksburg down if we're
because even like the tail end of Fuente, like we would win the opener because he could prepare for an opener and then we the wheels would fall off, and under Pride we just could not do anything out of conference to save our ass.
Put yourself in a position where me and Dan and maybe Brian and the other fellas on here, I don't know how often you guys plan to get down there this year, but we're standing there in the parking lot, 4-0 Virginia Tech about to take on Pitt on a Friday night. Like, put yourself in that mindset and think about just the absolute euphoria. Like, it would be sad.
All right. So I'm gonna pull this one back in. Lord have mercy. Let's hope. PB, what do y'all have coming up over at Too Deep in the next few weeks here?
We tonight, Sam was recording a Friends from College episode, meaning it was a similar layout to what we got going on here. A bunch of people talking old times. He did that. Next on Sunday, we're doing the Dads of Sunday as opposed to the Sons of Saturday. All the dads in our crew, we're going to have them on a show. They're going to tell dad stories. You guys would be good at that. And then next week, I think we're going to do an offensive kind of preview with Coach Holmes, but we're still working on what's coming up next week.
Cool. Dan, you got anything in the tank for the next month or so?
It's about time to start talking about fall camp and all the happenings around it. I feel like they've been putting out enough content to be able to speak on some stuff. So
especially Fat Rat jumping like 96 inches vertical. That's the most impressive damn thing I've ever seen.
Man, the way they kept AI and that thing to go further was hilarious.
We got a receiver on our
make
team.
it larger. Enhance.
We got a receiver on our team that our head coach called Fat Rat.
He called him Fat Rat.
We got to be good, man. We got to be bad.
Special times.
Just like somebody calling a man macho. So
we got to be bad.
Pete, Dan, as always, we appreciate you guys joining us for this. It's always a fun time, and luckily y'all aren't waiting like in the green room for like 2 hours because that does happen, and that's why we adjusted the preview panel this year. So thank you guys so much for joining us tonight.
I appreciate it.
We have a hard time staying under 45 minutes.
That don't happen.
I did like you guys making Billy Ray wait till last in the preview panel in the past, like keeping him in there till 10 p.m. Like I did like that. Like,
okay, 11. You're gonna go on at 10, Billy Ray. Like 11:15.
We would have Bill and Dwight on, and that would be another 2 hours.
I know.
Right. Those guys like to talk, man. They're good at it too.
All right. With that being said, with our special guest tonight, Pete B from Too Deep, Dan from Tales from the Terrordome. My name is Curtis Wilson, and this does wrap up this episode of the Boundary Corner Podcast, brought to you by Moments on the Maury.
I'm Brian Siegler.
Jonathan Talley.
And I'm Shelton Moss.
Visit BoundaryCornerBT.com to listen to all of our episodes. Also check the merchandise shop as well. While you're there, follow us everywhere you can on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Also, check out the YouTube. I know there's quite a few of y'all on there tonight. We really appreciate that. And your favorite podcast source. As always, we let our buddy Jason Long, he plays us in, play us out. Check JasonLongMusic.com out, where you can link to all of his music, including where his live shows are down in Roanoke over the next month. We appreciate you all for listening. We appreciate the discourse in the chat tonight. And as always, let's go.
Hokies.
Hokies.